frustrating when you're trying to sleep or just when you're trying to relax and there's noise going on. But unfortunately, when you live in attached housing or flats or dorms, it's just like what you have to expect. Like, you know that those are going to be the problems coming with those living situations. At the end of the day, you know, the quiet hours are from 11, so I guess they should kind of count themselves lucky they don't have a neighbour who like parties until 11 on the dot. So yeah, not the a-hole. You can't expect people to just, you know, not have a life or not pursue their hobbies. Okay, so this next one is by Skamikaze 9999. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for making my neighbour's kid depressed? So about a month ago I got a new kitten. There's this neighbouring kid, 3 to 4 years old, who also wanted to have a kitten for her birthday, but her parents did not want to take care of one, so they didn't get one. I happened to randomly get my new kitten at the exact same time. I let her play with my kitten a few times, but it got to the point where the kid is literally pestering me by ringing my doorbell and asking me each time I leave or enter the house if she could play with the cat. Now, whenever I open my door, the kid is there at the door staring at me. The kid still doesn't go to school, so she's always there waiting for me to get home. A couple of days ago, I was really tired from a hectic day. The kid came to me again, demanding she wants to see the cat, and I let her play with it for a while. I have observed her mishandling the cat, and the cat also hates her. After a while, she was taken home by her mother. Later, I have ordered some food and opened my door to collect it, and there, the damn kid was again asking if she could play with the cat again. I got really vexed at this point and lied to her that I have decided to give the cat away to a friend. Now the kid is sad and depressed and has stopped eating, and that is making me feel guilty. She demands I bring back the cat. I just want to have some peaceful time after work, and this kid has lately become a problem. Am I the a-hole? No, you are not the a-hole. I don't know where the parents are. Like, why are they just letting this kid stand outside a neighbour's house like all the time? It's weird. And also, it's like you need to teach your kids about like boundaries and not like harassing people and stuff like that. I know that they're young, but teach it young and it'll stick, you know what I mean? Also, like, you are not responsible for this kid's like emotional well-being. Like, it's not your job to make the kid happy because you've got a cat. So yeah, not the a-hole. This next story is That Old Guy Who Drinks. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for interrupting my neighbour's house auction because someone parked in my driveway? First, I'd seen the signs out front of their house but didn't pay attention. I go out this morning with my family to do shopping. I come home to find my quiet street packed, cars both sides narrowing it to one way. I get to my house and someone had parked in my driveway. I was going to next door. I keep going to next door. Fortunately, I was facing that way. Auction was in full swing. Agent going mental, scumbags in suits everywhere. I roll down the window and yell, whoever the inconsiderate arsehole was that parked in my driveway better move the fucking car now. Silence. Some old person gets gets in this shitty little Yaris and moves it. I back into my driveway and into my garage. About 10 minutes later, there's a knock on my door. It's one of the real estate flunkies who proceeded to chew me out for ruining his auction and costing the neighbour money. I told him I didn't give a fuck and maybe they should have given us notice of the auction. We got nothing in the mailbox and he can just piss off my property. My wife says I should have found a park and walked up and asked nicely. I told her nice doesn't work in this situation, so am I the a-hole? First of all, I'm so sorry about my stomach, guys. It keeps going off. I don't know what's going on today. But no, not the a-hole. I understand it may have devalued the house a little bit because it's like, oh, you've got a cranky neighbour or whatever, but like, you shouldn't be parking in someone's driveway. Like, that is just, everyone knows that you shouldn't park in someone's driveway. You're not allowed to. It's their property. That's a surefire way to get yourself towed, and it's also just like really, it screams entitlement, and it's really inconsiderate. And yeah, like, it definitely could have been handled better, like a bit more calm, more nicely, but I definitely understand the frustration, especially if they were already having a bit of an off day or something like that. Yeah, so no. I mean, also I think the neighbour and the what are they called? The estate agents, definitely should have like made sure that all the people attending this is like open house or whatever, where, you know, being not hospitable, what's the word that I'm looking for, being respectful and, you know, making sure they weren't like using people's property or causing a bit of mayhem or whatever you might want to say. Okay. This next story is by Zesty Close Use 667. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for not letting my neighbours camp on my land? I own 16 acres of woodland behind my house. It is very clearly my property, as there are signs up stating it is private property. I'm generally good with people walking through it, taking their dog for a walk or hiking, or even local kids playing there, as it's a safe place and beautiful, and so long as they don't cause any damage or mess with the trees, I see no reason to get upset over this. An issue came up, however, tonight when I was on a walk and I saw a fire through the trees. I admit I panicked, thinking a dog walker had been out and tossed a cigarette, or some local teenagers were setting fires for fun. I rushed out to check on it and tried to put out the fire, and found one of my neighbours camping with their girlfriend and friends. It was a group of 5 people in their mid-20s, and they had a roaring campfire going. They got startled by me rushing up to them like that and asked me what the fuck I was doing. I asked them the same question back and told them they couldn't camp here and they'd not asked permission to do so. This led to some laughter and protests that they weren't doing any harm, and to lighten up, and I told them to put the fire out and get off my land. I didn't want to risk a campfire there, as it could easily get out of hand, especially when the group manning it were more than a little drunk. They ended up refusing, stating they weren't going anywhere and were not doing anything wrong, so 31-year-old female. I'm married to a wonderful husband since 20 years and we're still madly in love. Due to mental illness, my husband can't work, so I'm the breadwinner in our family. This works well. I got a high-paying job, don't have overtime, and mostly work from home. My husband is a homemaker, and seriously, he's great at it. Last year, I was able to buy us a new house with a big garden. We do have quite a high fence around our property, so looking into our house isn't easy. You'd have to stand on your toes to peek over the fence. One of our neighbours, let's call her B, is incredibly nosy. When we moved in, she was the first to show up, not to help, but to gossip about other neighbours and warning us not to trust them too much and things like that. 2 months ago, my husband's best friend lost his job together with his wife, who thought a jobless man can't provide and he doesn't deserve her. The poor guy struggled extremely with bills, divorce, and upcoming depression. So my husband and I decided to get him out of this situation. We do have a spare bedroom that we wanted to turn into a gym room, but the room is still empty, so we offered this room to our friend. Didn't ask for rent or any contribution, just to help him being able to breathe again and focus on the future without having to worry about rent, bills, etc. The divorce is nasty enough, the poor guy doesn't need more stress. It works out really well. He's a very nice guy and doesn't demand things from us. He's just happy to have a safe space to heal and get back on his feet. We do things together, but he also stays happily in his room when my husband and I want to be alone. Now, when I was grocery shopping a few days ago, I met some of the neighbours who gave me weird looks, which confused me. Since I'm not the type to just brush things off, I stopped and asked what the problem is. Turns out B had been snooping around our house and spread nasty rumours in the neighbourhood that I lived together with 2 men, that the men in my house change. She even called it openly a whore house, since she rarely sees me go to work and my husband never goes to work. She spread in the neighbourhood that I must earn my money on my back, otherwise I couldn't afford such a nice house. I was livid and told my neighbours on the spot what's really the case, and then I left too worked up to focus on groceries. Now in the parking lot I saw B. In my fury and rage I stormed up on her and started screaming at her. I told her whoever I invite in my house is none of her business and to stay the fuck away from us. My family is not her concern, and if she ever badmouths me again, that won't go well. Then I simply left, not wanting to hear any word from her. Now some of my friends think I massively overreacted, while others think I was just protecting my family and friend, and gossip can hurt badly too. So I'm here for final judgment. Not the a-hole, like not even a little bit. Not even a little. Sorry to be blunt, but she sounds like a fucking bitch. Like, no. What a cow. Spreading rumors with no, solid proof. To spread rumors in general as like an adult, snipping around, just being a bit of a cow, making nasty comments. Okay guys, this next one is by Crafty-Ocelot 9612. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my neighbours to be more considerate? has complained several times that she can hear the baby crying, especially at night. My wife says the baby has bad reflux and they are trying to deal with it. The baby screams several times a day. It's awful listening to the poor thing cry for so long. It does feel like they aren't dealing with the baby as quickly as they should be. The baby screamed for 10 minutes solid the other night. My wife says that the baby screams when they bathe it, as Annie has told her the baby doesn't like being bathed. Baby is always crying and it's frustrating, especially when Mum needs peace and quiet to recover from surgery. Since the baby has come home, there is no longer any room on our street during the day, as we have on-street parking, so like no driveway. This is making it difficult to get Mum to appointments as she can't walk to the end of the street to get in the car, but we also can't park in the middle of the road as it blocks the road and can take over 10 minutes to get there in the car due to mobility issues. There had always been at least one empty bay outside of our house, but now it is always occupied by either someone from their families visiting or one of the healthcare professionals involved in the baby's care. I reached a breaking point at the weekend. Mum had been home alone all day and she was in tears when I got home from work. Wife was away visiting friends. She said the baby had been screaming all day long. It was still crying when I came home. I went and knocked on Bill and Annie's door to ask if they could quiet the baby. I could see through the frosted glass that Annie was sat at the bottom of the stairs, not even trying to calm the baby down. When she came to the door, she apologized and said she had been trying to calm baby down, but the new medication was making him constipated, and he was straining to poop. She had Bill gone to pick up an emergency prescription to try and help. I snapped as she clearly hadn't been trying as she was on the stairs and told her that they need to be more considerate of others if she didn't quiet the baby. Then I would log a noise complaint with the police. Annie was upset at this and closed the door in my face. When my wife came back, she told her what I had said. Now my wife is angry with me as I was making life difficult for a young couple with a sick baby, and is giving me the silent treatment. I feel like I may be in the wrong because of how my wife has reacted, but at the same time the baby is always crying and I think they need to be more considerate of their neighbours. You are definitely the a-hole, like a huge a-hole. There's this poor young couple with their first baby, and their baby is sick. Their baby is sick and fussy, and titled, Am I the A-hole for not telling my neighbour that I'm pregnant? This sounds so stupid, but I'm stressed about it. I live in a strata with pretty good neighbours. I love where I live, and we were able to buy our first house because houses built in strata are usually cheaper than single homes. If you're outside of Canada, a strata is similar to a HOA, Homeowners Association. Since I first moved in, I've had a nosy neighbour who comments on everything and everyone, trying to get you on certain sides of debates which I don't agree with doing. She told me the first day that I moved in that she was head of the strata, which she wasn't. That's a whole other story. And told me that my next door neighbour was the biggest arsehole to roam the earth. Turns out my neighbour is lovely and we get along great. This crazy neighbour of mine lives down at the end of the complex and will stop you to talk about her life and her perfect order for an hour. I try to steer clear if I see her outside. She asks personal questions which I avoid. Anyways, I was outside getting the mail and another neighbour walked by, noticing that I have a bump almost halfway through my pregnancy and starting to show. We talked about it briefly and she shared congratulations. I'm walking back with my mail and noticed that nosy neighbour was listening to the conversation. She walked over and said that she should have been in the loop about my pregnancy before the other neighbours. I told her that it's none of her business and I wasn't planning on outright telling anyone anyways. It's not something that I need to share with neighbours I don't get along with especially. Anyways, I got glares from her and she stormed away after getting her mail from the post box as well. She said that this isn't the proper way for you to communicate a pregnancy to me. Am I really the a-hole for not wanting her to know about the pregnancy? No. She sounds like a bizarre weirdo, to be honest. It's none of her business. Like, at all. What does she mean? Like, telling other neighbours before her? Like, why should she have a right to know? She's basically a stranger to you. That's so weird. This next one is by Yasmin Rainbow Spirit. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my neighbour to move her craft room to a different bedroom? My husband and I live in an upstairs 3-bedroom flat and the flat below us is the same layout. The house has been for sale for a while and recently a woman bought it. It turns out she doesn't have any children, so I found it strange she bought a 3-bedroom house. But I soon found out it's because she runs a craft business from home and needs 2 bedrooms to run. The problem is, unfortunately, she has decided to use the main bedroom, which is below us, as her main craft room. At first it was fine as she hadn't fully moved in, but now it's driving me crazy. She's in that room almost all day and I can hear her walking about and the faint noise of machines. I don't spend long in my bedroom during the day, but when I do go in, it just annoys me knowing she's there constantly. Like, why can't she have picked the smaller bedroom since she knows the kids are at school all day? She always stops using her embroidery and sewing machines by 7 p.m, but she's told me she can sit up until 10 p.m. some nights, finishing off orders, which plays on my mind. I go to bed at 9 p.m. and I can't sleep for hours as I lie there just listening to her move. Just knowing she's awake and walking about drives me crazy, as I find it so selfish someone will buy a flat and work from home. My husband says he can barely hear a thing during the day and I need to calm down. He also doesn't see the big deal about her using her house as she pleases. Yesterday I finally had enough and went to her door. I told her how I was feeling about everything and how I can hear the faint noise of her machines. She apologised and invited me inside to show me her setup. All her machines are on some sort of anti-vibration padding to stop as much noise as possible, so she claims that noise should be minimal and that you need to expect some noise from neighbours. I told her I don't make any noise, and that's when things took a turn, and she said she can hear my kids running around and jumping off furniture all evening. But she would never dream of complaining because it's just one of those things when you share a building with other people. I left before I said anything else I regretted, and I thought that was the end of it. But today my husband came home from working overnight and asked if I had said anything to the woman downstairs, as she was very cold and blunt with him when he said hello. I told him what happened, and he said I'm a massive arsehole. I've spoken to a couple of my friends who think I've handled this completely wrong, and I'm a bit of an arsehole for it. But I don't see what else I could have done. I'm so sorry, but girl, you sound like an insane, crazy narcissist. What the fuck? Of course you're the arsehole. You've said the OP for this is stated so many times that just like the thought, like just knowing that their neighbour is like walking around their own apartment and like being awake and stuff drives her crazy. What the fuck? Why are you that arsed? Why do you care what other people do in their homes or in their time? Why are you trying to put your own mental bedtime on other people? What the fuck? That is such strange behaviour. And it's so strange that she genuinely thinks that she's in the right. Like, whoa. That one is crazy to me. Like, the neighbour handled that really well. Like, she already had all the like anti-vibration set up and like explained, you're in a building with other people, you need to expect noise, invited her in and stuff, which was so kind. Yeah, and she said that like she's not even in the bedroom during the daytime. Just knowing that there's noise going on makes her angry. Like, what the fuck? So the noise doesn't even bother you because you're not in the room. Just the thought of knowing that there is noise being made makes you angry. What a weirdo. What a weirdo. Okay. This next one's by a deleted account. It's titled, Am I the A-hole for asking our neighbour to put our cat outside of her house? We got our daughter, a kitten 5 months ago. Named her Jelly. As soon as it was allowed outside, it found another kitten and a mama cat, and a human mama child too. 4 doors down and likes them more than us. Jelly only comes home at night for food and when they turn her out for the night. Recently they had a dog staying with them and Jelly didn't like it, so she hung out at our place, playing, sleeping on the couch all day. It was delightful. But as soon as the dog left our neighbours, Jelly was back round there all day. I politely asked the neighbour if she was feeding Jelly and she said, oh, just a tiny bit, because otherwise she meows at me all day. I told them we do feed her all the time and that we'd love to see her more. She said she couldn't possibly be mean to a cat. I want to say, please, can you not let Jelly in? Put her outside, she's our cat. Am I the a-hole because Jelly is making her choice and this neighbour is just being a kind animal lover? Yes, of course doesn't want to be an outdoor cat, hence staying in the neighbour's house all the time. So maybe bring Jelly inside and keep Jelly inside. Maybe even get her another cat friend. It seems like she just enjoys the attention and the socialization, so it's an easy fix. Okay guys, this next one is my backyard throwaway. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for setting boundaries with my neighbours? I, female 35 and child-free. I don't like children. I have lived in my current house that I purchased in my mid-20s. My house has a backyard that doesn't have a fence, with my next door neighbour making it look like one big shared yard. It's not. A few months ago, the old man next door died and the house was bought by a family with 3 kids. 2 of the kids are quite young, 8 to 12, and the 3rd I think is an adult who I sometimes see leave for work. Early in the morning when I go for a walk, when they first arrived I went over while they were unpacking to tell them I didn't want them or their children crossing over into my property. They were quite rude and told me that they were busy and that they would talk later. However, I have had nothing more to do with them since. Yesterday I was in my kitchen when I noticed that the 2 smaller kids were tossing a ball around in their yard. I went out and sternly reminded them that they were not to come into my yard. I went back inside but kept an eye on them. A short while later I saw one of them throw the ball past the other one, and it went into my yard. The one who didn't catch it then trespassed onto my property to get the ball. I immediately got my phone and called the police, non-emergency line, to report what had happened. They came by a short while later to talk to me. They went back over to my neighbours before coming and telling me that they had sorted it. This morning when I went for my walk, I walked past the older son who was putting something in his boot. When he saw me, he said, "You're a real cunt, you know that?" I was shocked by his language but kept my composure and ignored him. When I went over later that morning to tell his mother what he had said to me, she said, "Probably because you are," and threatened to call the police if I didn't get off her property. I'm beginning to wonder if I went overboard and acted a bit quickly. Am I the a-hole? 1,000,000 times yes. Oh my god. You remind me of the old man from Monster House. Except you don't have any valid reason to be that much of a bitch. Like, what the fuck? They were unpacking, after a big move, and your first thought, instead of going over to welcome them or maybe ask if they wanted some help and stuff like that, is to be a fucking cow and basically say, "Don't come on my property, I don't want anything to do with you, fuck off." And then said that they were rude with the way they replied. Yeah, I'm quite sure they probably were, because you came over being a combative cow. What the fuck? And then the kids were playing on you before they had even done anything wrong. Come out to chastise them and just be an intimidating bitch. Fuck off. Just getting that aggy and pissed off over a kid getting a ball from the fucking grass a meter away is ridiculous, and you just wasted police time. I don't care if it was the non-emergency line, you just wasted everybody's time and made yourself look like a twat. Absolute twat. Yeah, what a psychopath. If you care that much about people coming into your garden, put a fence up instead of just being so hostile. Oh my god. Okay guys, this next one is by usual _turnover 2439. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for only babysitting my nephew and not my neighbour's kids? I, 22 female, have a sister, 26 female, who is going away this weekend with her husband, 40 male, for a she said that she and her husband are going away, and the nephew will stay for the weekend. It's the first time without his parents. My neighbour, who has 3 kids and a husband herself, mentioned she's also going away this weekend, as she was going to see a friend and looking for a babysitter. My sister dared to tell my neighbours that her kids could stay next door with me as a babysitter, my nephew anyway. Here's the thing, my neighbour's husband is home and he has the weekend off, and they're his kids. When I found out my sister had said the neighbour's kids were coming round, I said they were not. I only agreed to babysit my nephew. My sister thinks I'm being harsh and selfish because I don't like kids, and I don't want any of my own, and she thinks that's why I'm being nasty about not babysitting my next door neighbour's kids. However, if next door asked me, I would still say no because the dad is home. Am I the a-hole? No, you are not the a-hole. For first, your sister should not have dogged you in like that. She should not have volunteered you to, babysit someone else's kids. Babysitting one for the first time by yourself, who is a 1-year-old, is gonna be enough stress, in my opinion. And also, why is the neighbour looking for a babysitter when the father is home? What is with useless fathers or useless parents in general? They are your kids. It's not babysitting. If it's your kid, it's called looking after your child and being a parent. Oh my goodness, step up. Okay, this next one is again by a deleted account. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend to apologise after he insulted my neighbours for having 7 kids? My neighbours are this really lovely couple, Charlie and Emily. They have 7 kids. The oldest is 17 and the youngest is 4. Only 3 of them are under 10 years old, with the rest being preteens or teenagers. The older kids are from Charlie and Emily's previous relationships. The younger are their shared biological kids. Big family, but Charlie is a mostly stay-at-home dad, trying to keep it vague, but he's always only worked a couple days a month and has a lot of passive income. Emily makes a shit ton of money and their house has 8 bedrooms. Between their financial backing and Charlie staying at home, the kids have everything they need, and they're happy. They're a loving family with no issues. I know this because I take care of 4 kids. My kids, 4 male and 5 female, and my nephews, ages 4 and 6. All of our kids go to the same school. The 4-year-olds are all in the same class, and my 6-year-old nephew and their 6-year-old son are in different classes, but still good friends. There's also been times when they've watched my kids for me, and times when I've watched theirs. My boyfriend has said previously that 7 kids is way too much. I've responded mainly with comments along the lines of, good thing I only have 2, and their choices aren't my business, or something like that. But I have also reassured him about their financial situation, Charlie's ability to stay at home, and the sheer size of their house. However, the other day I was talking to Emily while the kids played. My boyfriend was with us. Emily said she'd felt a little nauseous lately with a bit of a headache, and she was going to the GP to make sure it was nothing serious. My boyfriend then says, let's hope you're not pregnant again. 7 is already excessive. While Emily has made jokes along these lines, this was very clearly not meant as a joke. He just sort of walked off after he said it, leaving me to apologise profusely to Emily on his behalf. It was absolutely mortifying, as she was obviously offended, which anyone would be if a near stranger told them they had an excessive amount of children. Then today he He says he was just joking, and it's not like what he said was actually incorrect, because 7 kids is an absurd number. I've said that's not for him to decide, and he's insulted my friends. I don't want him coming over. If there's a chance, he'll run into Emily and Charlie, and they'll be mad at him still. He said I'm being unreasonable, controlling and belittling / infantilizing him, and generally making him feel like a child for forcing him to apologize for something he believes to be true. Am I the a-hole? No. You shouldn't have to tell him to apologize. He should apologize anyway. What a prick. Like, yeah, 7 kids is a lot, but the OP said, you know, they have a big house, they're wealthy, their dad's always home, so what's the issue? As long as the kids are getting looked after, I don't care. I only think it's a problem when people are bringing more kids into the world that they can afford to have, or that they have time for. I think then it's neglectful and abusive. But if they're a big happy family, leave them to it, more power to them. My mum has 7 kids, but she was the type to have kids that she can't afford, so we didn't all live with her, and we didn't all, you know, live a good childhood, so it can be done, but you need to make sure they're all getting looked after, and they are, so he's the a-hole. Also, I'm sorry, I've been like a bit more like aggressive or like swearing a lot in these. I just think a lot of these ones are like getting on my nerve a little bit. Like some of the people in these stories today, the audacity of them truly shocks me. Like, oh my god. Okay, we got 2 more. This one is by a YA performer. It's titled Am I the A-hole for asking a neighbour if she wanted to share food? I'm a 31-year-old single guy who lives alone in an apartment complex. I've lived there for 6 years. My neighbour across the hall, a woman around my age or a little younger. I actually don't know her first name, but I'll call her Katie. Lives across the hall from me, diagonally, and has for about 2 years. We exchange hellos but aren't friendly, which is how it is with most of my neighbours. So I don't know how to cook, and due to losing one of my part-time gigs, I don't have as much money for takeout anymore. I'm getting really sick of eating cheap fast food or box mac and cheese. I'm gaining weight and I never feel great. This is where Katie comes in. I can always smell her cooking in the hall, and it always smells amazing. I know it isn't the other person at our end of the hall, because it's a single old man. I've even complimented it a few times, so I got the idea that I'd offer to give her some money each week to cook a little extra and bring it over to me, or I can pick it up from her at night. She's cooking anyway, and then I'd have varied, presumably delicious food. I asked her the next time I saw her, and she looked surprised and said she couldn't because she was too busy, which didn't make sense because she cooks almost every day, but okay. The next time I saw her, a few days later, I asked her if she was sure and upped the amount I was offering, and she said she was sure and that it was rude to ask me, and that she isn't a housekeeper for hire, and I should get a housekeeper if that's what I want. She also called me a stranger, even though we have talked in the halls before. Overall, she made me feel like a big jerk and really embarrassed for even asking her, and a little mad because she was acting like I was being creepy. I wasn't, trust me, she isn't my type. I think asking her to split cooking wasn't completely outlandish since she cooks every day anyway. access to libraries, cookbooks, the internet. Just learn how to cook. You're an adult. And like you saying that it's weird that she said that you're strangers. You are. Just because you're neighbours and you've exchanged hellos in the hallway does not make you friends. You're still strangers. And it's a very wild thing to ask a stranger, in my opinion. And also, you saying, what was it? Where is it? Is it gone? That I can't find it. Basically saying, oh, you're not my type, so I couldn't be being creepy because you're not my type. What a narcissistic prick thing to say. What the fuck? What an asshole. He also said, like in an edit, it's clear that I was the a-hole, asking her was it inappropriate, blah blah blah. My instinct is to apologise to her, but since my instinct was to ask her in the first place, I'll do the opposite and stay out of her hair. Thanks. Like, that is so passive, aggressive, narcissistic. Fuck off. What the hell? Asshole. Okay. This next one is about noise complaints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's gonna be the last story for tonight. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for having house parties despite neighbours' complaints? I'm a female 3rd year uni student, and this year I'm living in a rented flat with 2 friends. We moved in 3 weeks ago when uni started, and immediately we started having trouble with our neighbours. We have 1 flat above us and 2 flats below us, and all of our neighbours are dicks. Anyway, the first night we had a housewarming party. We tried to keep it down and we never had any complaint. The next day we had another party because it was a Saturday and our friends came back. That's when one set of neighbours knocked on our doors and asked us to keep it down, which we did. But 30 minutes later another set of neighbours did the same. We were annoyed but complied. A few days go by and we have another party because it was sports social, so we held it at our flat. Our neighbours knocked again, but I didn't bother opening the door. The next day we had our landlady come in and talk to us about noise. Since then, whenever we have a party, we have a landlady come in and stand there until everyone leaves, and people just leave because the mood is gone. Anyway, she just threatened us that she will start the eviction process if we don't calm down because we make too much noise. I told her it's crazy to expect students to never party and we only make a bit of noise occasionally. She told me 2 other flats are students but they don't cause problems, and she's been renting to students for ages and we're the worst. I called her a fat cunt, no idea if Reddit won't ban me for saying it, and told her to go ahead, but she won't be able to evict us for months because of the law. She said that from now on the neighbours will be calling the police. I shut the door in her face. I'm considering blasting her on social media so no one rents from her ever again. I told my friends about this and some lent